Hi. I've been meaning to make this video for a while now, and I guess it's better late than never. So last night I watched The Deliverance. It's a new film on Netflix. It's a horror film. It's based on a true story of hauntings, and something hit me. So I don't know how many of you guys have seen the film, and this isn't me judging or trying to convince anybody to see the film, but what struck me the most were the performances, right? Um, I have observed, because I've been around for a while. I've observed that this that it seems like there's still a whole lot of people in our industry who either don't pay as much attention as they could to their performances, or they just don't have enough time to pay as much attention as they could to their performances. And I know this will sound like me complaining, but yeah, in a sense, this is me complaining. So good performances, or the best performances, whichever term you decide to use, are the way they are because they're believable. Um, there's something I learned back in the day in school about the willing suspension of disbelief. It's what activates in both performers and the audience that makes them live in the moment and believe whatever they're seeing is real. Human beings are emotional creatures. We get to connect with other people and situations with the heart, whatever it is you want to call the heart. But I always have a problem when I have zero emotional connection to a performance. And usually it's one or two things. It's either the performer is doing too much or they aren't doing enough. Now, I feel on some level that what we do as performers is reflect some version of reality. And this is where it gets a bit complicated because the argument would be that there is no one way to simulate reality, there's no one way to pretend to be real. I get that. But I feel there's a thick line between being believable and presenting a version of reality and being unbelievable because your presentation of a version of reality is just crass or overdone. I've been to a couple of auditions over the years, and I have seen a lot of performers do too much. I had a conversation with a person a while ago, and a couple of years ago, and the response I got, the answer I got for why this happens, is that people are just trying to get attention. I don't think being the loudest person in the room is the best approach to getting attention. This isn't me saying it won't give you attention, but you being over the top doesn't make you believable. I don't think it makes anybody believable. And this isn't me saying in real life there aren't people that are over the top. So that can justify a performer being over the top on screen, on stage, or whatever. I mean, there's a place for being over the top, but on a very base level, if you're pretending to be a real person, I think the least you can do is work at understanding how a real person would be or how a real person would react in situations before you pretend. Personally, I think a big part of the problem we have as performers in our space is we either don't have enough time to get familiar with the characters we play, or we just don't feel it's as important to get to understand the characters that we play because we don't have as much time as we'd prefer. So it boils down to, for a lot of people, just getting a script and getting familiar with lines and saying the lines as best as you can because you have limited time. It's kind of depressing for me, not just as a performer. It's depressing for me when I get to work with people who see the next performance as just another gig to spew lines and get a paycheck. It's even worse for me getting to watch the end result of, this process, and then it's clear what's going on. Um, Again, this might get me arrested or shot, but I just thought to share it. I think it's still important to make performances real. I think performers, and this isn't me, calling out anybody, but I think performers owe it to their audiences to be real. Yeah. If 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 a person sees what you do and they don't feel anything besides, you know, the noise, what exactly is the point? Okay. If you can't get people to cry when you cry, if people laugh at you when you cry, or people just straight up say you're doing too much, what's the point? Yes, it's money in the bank. And again, I'm not throwing shade, this isn't beef, but I just think it's a disservice to the self as a performer if you just don't think it's that important. Again, I know how a lot of performers tend to disassociate when they take on roles, how they keep themselves disconnected. For a lot of them, I know the reason they give is they don't want to get attached and they don't want to lose themselves in that moment. Truth is, some of the best performers will tell you that the number one way to have the best performance is to let yourself get lost to an extent in the character. This is a tip for upcoming actors who've been asking me the question of how I do and why, how we do what we do. Don't be afraid to get lost. I know it's a struggle for people who are still trying to find themselves to imagine becoming somebody else for a while, but it's always for a while. Nobody's ever going to make you be a character for more than a couple of hours a day. So why not just let go? Anywho, my 2 cents. Um, I'll probably share another note about performance in a while, but if you listen to this, if you're an aspiring actor, if you're one of my fellow colleagues, this just might help. Keep it real.